One. So has anyone in here ever complained about government? I have. Anyone? There's quite a few good things to complain about right now. We have road maintenance, waiting in line at the DMV, lack of classes here at COD, and then a never-ending complaint of how high taxes are. So I'm curious if anyone in here has complained about government and not voted. I've not voted on issues. I'm totally guilty of that. And, you know, it's from that example I've learned, you know, where do I have the loudest voice? And it's through voting. William E. Simon once said, bad politicians are sent to Washington by good people who don't vote. By not voting, I deny myself my democratic right and freedom and voice. According to February 2008 study from the Center for Information and Research on Civic Learning and Engagement, since 1972, when 18 to 20-year-olds first won the right to vote, the voter turnout rate among 18 to 29-year-olds has fallen from a high of 55% to a low of 40% in the year 2000. Today, you will understand the issue of low voter turnout and also lack of voter registration, what causes low turnout, and what are the effects are. And finally, you will understand the solutions to increase voter turnout and help young voters to represent and have a voice in our great nation. All right. So first, let's look at the lack of young people registered to vote and participating in the polls. This is a chart showing, this is the age down here at the bottom and then towards the end. So from 18 and 20-year-olds are way down here in the amount we vote. And then all the way up here is where we have 70-year-olds. We're getting beat by a bunch of 70-year-olds. And then once they start to get past 80, they don't vote as much because it's hard for them and they're old. And then I also have right here is a chart of participation in democratic nations, and we are way at the bottom. And then also, here are some of the reasons why, top issues, why young voters don't show up to the polls. And it's right here, the main thing is they're too busy. That is the main complaint of why people don't show up to the polls. And then illness or emergency, not interested. I think some people aren't interested. That's a logical explanation. Don't like the candidates, refused, or don't know. Some people just don't know how to vote, and it's hard because where do we have that education? So, young people are among the lowest percentages to register. I know from my personal experience, my fiance, who is 30 years old, did not register until I forced one. I actually registered for him and he signed. But, you know, it's like 12 years in his life he could have voted and he chose not to because he didn't take the time or even know how. So the U.S., in a May 2000 press release, the U.S. Census Bureau stated that citizens of 65 and older had the highest registration rate at 79%. And then while those who were 18 to 24 had the lowest of 58%. The press release later states that the youngest group also has the lowest voting rate at 47%. And then while those who are 45 and older had the highest turnout of about 70%. So we're not being fairly represented in the polls because we're not showing up. Our issues for our age demographic is not being put out there because we're not voting. All right. So next, the cause and effect of voter turnout. There are numerous misconceptions for why people don't participate in the polls. Michael E. Ross, in his November 3rd, 2005 article in MSNBC, stated that 18% of the state's voters thought they were automatically registered to vote when they registered their cars. So there are other countries that do register you automatically, but here in America we have the choice to register ourselves and choose how to register and everything. But with 18% not understanding that they have to get a voter registration form and mail it in, that's a huge piece of people that aren't even knowing that they have to register. So registration to vote is independent from being called for jury duty. A lot of people think that if you're registered to vote, you're going to get jury duty, and that's actually when you register your car. So people have these flipped misconceptions and don't understand. And then the most costly it's the most costly misconception for young Americans. The number of regular voters are very few. According to research done by Eric Polzer, PhD from Penn State, 30% of adults are habitual voters. And they vote in the presidential elections, midterm elections, school board elections. They vote even with elections that are not expected to be close. A lot of people think the big important thing is to show up for your presidential candidate and vote just for presidential elections, but there are a lot of positions that are so close to us that we can vote at a local level, we don't vote for. And those are the ones that really directly affect us as individuals in our community. And then it said school board and education, it affects us way closer. The effects of low voter turnout is Derek D. Pledge wrote in October 31st, 2002 article of the Inquirer said that nearly 38% of young people said they were very likely to vote compared to the 73% of people over 30. Even just that small age group, like we vote at 38% versus 73%. Our priorities are a little bit different, it seems like, as young people versus old people. And not all of us, but I've learned a lot by doing this and realizing where a lot of our priorities are. So what are the solutions for increasing voter turnout? All right. Our first solution is to register. It's really quick, it's easy. It looks bigger than it is, it's only this. There's not even a backside. You don't even have to pay postage. It's already done for you. Just fill it out. It takes less than 5 minutes and drop it in the mail. You don't have to register and say what party you decide to affiliate. If you don't want to affiliate with a party, you can decline to state. There's also, we have to increase knowledge with young people. Like I noted a couple of the misconceptions, like 18% think that you're already registered when you register your car, things like that. There's a lack of knowledge started at a young age. I didn't know how to register to vote. I had to ask people, and I had some help with my parents and teachers, but I had to ask because I was never taught how to do it. And on January 31st, 2010, Troy Kinsey stated a lot of it is a lack of education. Kids don't know how important it really is. Therefore, they don't think it matters if they put their word in. Another thing is, commoncause.org stated that in 2006, 76% of voting age population was registered. That leaves 24% to be unable to vote. And you can also, the U.S. Census Bureau stated that the #1 reason people don't vote is because they're too busy. And then you can save yourself a whole lot of trouble. There's a little line right here I highlighted. You can vote by absentee ballot. And so in conclusion today, we have discussed and understood the issue of low voter turnout among young people and what causes low turnout, what the effects are, and finally, the audience will understand the solution to increase voter turnout and help young people to register and vote. By increasing young voter turnout, we increase our voice in our government. Issues like our educational system, finances, financial aid, taxes, and so much more have to do with the issues we vote on and politicians we choose to represent us. William E. Simon said earlier, bad politicians are sent to Washington by good people who don't vote. So the question you must ask yourself is, are you going to be the citizens who don't vote in the next election? Thank you.